Meet Churro. He was just a regular dude with a regular 9-to-5 job who now makes around 10K a month editing his favorite YouTube videos.
If it was hot outside, it was hot outside. If it was cold, I had to work through that. But now I'm making 8 to 10K a month.
So I had to ask him some questions to try and figure out how someone like you watching this video can replicate exactly what he did. And stick around, because in this video, Churro actually revealed to me the one thing which limits nearly everyone who tries to become a freelancer.
Once I basically tripled my income just by making that small switch.
All right, welcome Churro. So first of all, just tell me a bit about what you actually do.
I'm Churro, I'm 23, and I'm a freelance video editor. I've been editing for like 3 years now. I recently moved from Cali to Atlanta, Georgia. Now I'm making 8 to 10K a month.
All right, so what was the key differentiator between you and maybe someone else who is trying to do something similar? What were the main reasons you were actually able to successfully quit your job and start working for yourself?
The thing that drove me was the intense discomfort of where my life was. You know, my uncle hooked me up on a job. Like first week, I already wanted to quit. It was like hard labor type of stuff. It was like freezing, it was raining. I had to work through that. If it was blazing hot, I had to work through that. And then going home, I'd be too tired to do anything. I was so physically and mentally drained that I just wanted to, fall asleep. And then I just wake up the next day and repeat the whole cycle. Being that way, I'm like, nah, I can't do this. So I'm like, okay, I just gotta make this work, or else like that's life I'm gonna live.
All right, yeah. So I'm sure there are lots of young people out there who see guys like you who've actually managed to make a proper income from freelancing, but they just don't know how to get to the point that you're at. For anyone like that, what would you say are the 3 core steps which they need to take, which you yourself took to get to this point?
So the first step I'd say is start with the foundations. What I would tell myself if I was, started from zero is the basics and do a lot of that. Going to like the 80-20 thing, that's the 20% that's gonna bring 80% of your results. What makes a good cut, pacing, that's like the biggest thing I need to worry about like now as a video editor. And the second step is finding a mentor. If you're able to, try to find a coach or mentor, someone you could do a one-on-one coaching with. Pick someone who has the results you want. Look and see if you can find that person, and if you can, it's worth investing. And the third step is getting into the mindset that it's possible. In a way, you kind of have to brainwash yourself into this new way of thinking. At least for me, I started off with a lot of limiting beliefs that I didn't know I had. I was stuck at 1K a month for like a whole year because I had like so many limiting beliefs. And once I, spoke with a coach, we did a deep dive on like my mindset, and literally 2 weeks later, I got my first 3K a month. So I basically tripled my income just by making that small switch.
All right, cool. So what would you say has been the hardest part of getting here? What was maybe the biggest mistake along the way, and what would you do differently if you could start over again?
The biggest mistake was not starting sooner. I was doubting like whether I can make this work. That caused me to, I guess you can say, procrastinate on actually fully committing. Although I don't hate where I am right now, I could have definitely like been a lot farther if I decided to commit at that moment.
All right, so I want to ask a bit of a different question. What would you say is the worst thing about your business model? What are some of the downsides of what you did?
So one of the big downsides is what comes with, a service-based business. Although, yes, you can scale to a certain point, it's heavily reliant on how much time it takes for you to do that thing. It's not as scalable as other businesses, but at the same time, I would say that it does get you far, and it does teach you things that, you could bring to other business models or other things around it, like creating content. As a video editor, you see so many different types of content. You see like kind of the behind the scenes, and you could bring that, if you wanted to, like to your own content.
All right, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, what does your work actually consist of day to day? How many hours are you putting in, and are you actually enjoying it?
I don't set an alarm. I kind of just wake up when I wake up, and I head to work. Luckily for me, I enjoy what I do. I started editing before I even started getting paid, so it doesn't feel like a daunting task. So I start work, and then I just edit till like I'm bored or I'm hungry. And then I'm like, I don't want to edit right now. Sometimes I would edit till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., but that's just like my choice, just because like I want to edit. For some people that may be like, oh, he's like overworking himself, but me, it's like same thing as like playing video games. I'm like, I'm doing it by choice.
Yeah, I mean, I love that, and I'm sure that the fact that you enjoy it enables you to do so much more work than someone who doesn't enjoy it. My next question is for someone who's at level 0 and wants to become an entrepreneur or start freelancing like you, for example. What is the best piece of advice that you would give to them right now?
Pick something you like to do. Maybe that's drop shipping. Maybe, you like that. I don't know. Pick a business model that you see yourself sticking with, long term. Don't be like switching around. And you'll eventually reach a point where it becomes painful or you feel like you can't do it. But that doesn't mean like that business model isn't for you. That just means you're learning, you're growing, you're getting ahead of like so many other people. And that pain is evidence of that. And you'll also reach a point where you feel like you know it all. And that's just ego getting in the way of your growth. There's always levels that above you. Stay in that student mindset where you're just always open to learning more, even though you feel like, oh, I know everything there is to know about this business model. There's always more to learn. So just like keep learning, and you'll keep scaling.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I love that. So final question, what's next for you?
For me personally, I still like editing. I see myself doing editing for at least the next 7 years, but I'm also gonna try to transition into making my own content, going back to my roots, wanting to become a content creator. I feel like that's at least the next step I could take. Having learned so much from video editing, now I can apply that to my own work.
All right, great. Well, thanks for coming on, Churro. If you want to check out any of his socials, they'll be in the description. And that's pretty much it for the interview. So thank you again.
Thanks for having me.